We are out here. This is part 2 of today's Thursday segment of the week. That's Mitchell Balla.
Yes, sir.
I'm Jordan McKelly. And welcome to Cover Your Balls. We already finished college football, so we're not going to call college football. This is segment 2.
But
Now
this
it's
is
NFL
segment 2.
football.
Yes. The
Let's
pros.
get
But
in.
before we move on, I just want to say, for the people that are seeing this now, thank you to Jake Pilata for hopping on here, our college football analyst, former quarterback, giving us some insight and everything. Look forward to having him back on. But, yep, Jordan, let's go ahead and jump into the next segment. I'll throw it back to you. Just want to make sure we gave him a proper shout-out.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This is the second segment. NFL. Mitch, there was an awful football game on yesterday. It was the Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it might have been the worst game I've watched all year. There were 4 turnovers in the first 10 minutes of the game, almost all the turnovers being bad ones. And what do you mean, Jordan?
Yeah.
Aren't all turnovers bad? No, you don't understand. These turnovers were at the complete opposite end of a bad turnover. It was awful. I mean, absolutely awful. Ben Roethlisberger just throwing interceptions. We'll get into Big Ben here in a second. But, Mitch, I feel like right now the Pittsburgh Steelers are getting ready for a comprehensive exam. You've taken a comprehensive exam. A comprehensive exam is all of the material you've learned all year long, plus new material. So not only do you have to study all the old stuff, but you have to study the new stuff too. The only problem is they're not being tested at all. And
You're
so
right.
I don't know how you can really examine your football team if you're not being tested. And I honestly think that this is a team that everybody's saying has no flaws. I definitely believe that they have flaws. And just like I called out the Baltimore Ravens flaw last year, a month before the Titans played Baltimore, I said, Mitch, if the Titans play Baltimore, it's just going to be a bad matchup. And I think that there are going to be bad matchups for Pittsburgh in the playoffs. And even though they look invincible now, I don't ever think you should strive to have an undefeated season because I think the losses teach you so much. And they haven't got those big lessons yet. And I think watching that yesterday, I can't believe that Trace McSorley almost was one possession away from having the ball, driving down the field to give them a chance to beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh with no starting quarterback and neither of your starting running backs. Shame on you, Pittsburgh, and shame on you. But thank you for winning because the Browns needed it.
Big time win for the Browns' sake.
Huge win. Huge win. And honestly, this is what it's looking like in the AFC now because of that loss by the Ravens. You see the Ravens are 6-5. Now they're 2 games back of the Browns. And the Browns and the Ravens will meet one more time here coming up. So it's still logjam down there. But if the Browns can manage to be that top wild card team, Mitch, and maybe win the next 3 out of 2, we're thinking we might be in a real good position to maybe get one in the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that loss yesterday, I don't want to say allows the Browns to trip up, but it almost allows the Browns to trip up a game, that being this week, because now Baltimore's 2 games behind you and you still play them one more time, where a win against them on a Monday night pretty much, I don't want to say assures you a spot, but you're going to get in over Baltimore if it comes down to it.
Oh, no doubt.
Before anything, yesterday's game, one thing, RG3 needs to get out of the league. He's been out of the league since the Browns signed him.
You mean this guy?
That's the last time he played good football.
Look at
that
this,
guy.
Baby. Come on, look at that. Look at that. Thank you for this. This was a Christmas present from you like 5 years ago.
Long time ago. Back when RG3 was good at football.
Back when he was good.
But we saw internet sensation and TikTok famous Trace McSorley come in yesterday through a touchdown to Marquise Hollywood Brown. It really got America going. I think that's what America needed in a time like this, was Trace McSorley to come in and throw a touchdown.
Is that what we needed?
I that's what I needed yesterday.
Oh wow.
I mean, it made me like, it was,
what a weird thing to need.
everybody needs to see Trace McSorley. I mean, he's popular. He's an internet sensation right now. Whether he knows that or not, but it's what we needed. And the Steelers took a huge hit yesterday. We're going to talk about this in the headlines, but they lose Bud Dupree for the season.
Mm-hmm.
So now, not only does their defense lose one of their best playmakers, and let's be honest, their defense is still very good.
Oh,
okay,
excellent.
it's not like they're, but losing Bud Dupree now allows teams to double TJ Watt on whichever side he comes, and I think that's going to hurt the Steelers. I think teams are now going to run the ball away from TJ Watt, and I think that the Steelers are more vulnerable now. They played sloppy because they couldn't really get in a rhythm. And I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about the week. You're supposed to play Thanksgiving night. You're supposed to play Sunday. You're supposed to play Monday. Then you're Tuesday, snowstorm, and COVID still. You push to Wednesday.
Hell of an excuse for a Pittsburgh team whose quarterback said, "Hey, would you like the ball?" and just threw it directly up in the air.
Oh,
like,
I'm not making excuses for him. And after the game, Mike Tomlin came out and said, I mean, they were a JV team. Those were his exact words. But I agree with you completely. Ben Roethlisberger was in the giving mood. It is the giving season. But lucky for him, the Baltimore Ravens were in the giving mood as well. And former Brown Joe Hayden took what was given to him and took it to the house. He's playing some of his best football since he's left Cleveland. Shocker. It's usually how it goes. I think Baltimore's on the downward spiral right now. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to recover. They do play Dallas this week. They should be fine. But Jordan, I think the Ravens exposed the Steelers in some areas. And then we also saw that the Ravens and their system and their scheme when it comes to running backs and quarterbacks that run is being exposed now. And I thought it was only a matter of time, and it's looking like the NFL has caught on.
Yeah, you need to be able to stand in the pocket. And that, I mean, you have to be able to stand in the pocket. How many quarterbacks have we ever seen that have been successful who couldn't throw from the pocket? The answer is really zero. You have to be able to throw from the pocket. And that's a big thing. And, only time will tell. The quarterback position is still getting more athletic. So I think it is still getting better because it still is getting more mobile. But there's a lot of quarterbacks, like, for instance, Kyler Murray. He's very smart and mobile. He's not like an RG3 in mobile type guy. He's not willing to take a hit for 2 more yards. They're more chess players. So I think the quarterback position is getting more athletic still. So I don't know about exposed. Maybe exposed for quarterbacks who can only, run the ball, and people who need to be put in bootleg formations to throw the ball. But like Kyler Murray and some of these new age guys like Patrick Mahomes aren't just runners, they're passers. So I don't, if you're a one-dimensional quarterback, you were already exposed before this even happened, because I feel like me and you both knew that Lamar Jackson wasn't going to continue to have the success that he was having, because most of it was based on his legs. And there's a reason why the shelf life is so short for NFL running backs, because you're getting hit constantly. And so, I definitely exposed. They do not look good. They're 6-5. They're going to have to almost win out. It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
And some big wins too that they're going to need, but they're probably more than likely going to have to play the rooting game here down the stretch. Especially if they lose to the Browns on Monday night in a few weeks. But first things first, the Browns got to take care of business. But there's a little dysfunction over there in Baltimore. You've seen players and tweet things. You've seen coaches say some things. There's some dysfunction over there, and it's been brewing now for a while. And we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, for all we know, Baltimore could flip a switch and run it back and get to the playoffs and be a dangerous team. Or they could roll over right now and show that they were a 1-2 year wonder and they go back to the well. Maybe Lamar Jackson and that system isn't the answer for him. But I don't think it is. I'll come out and say it right now. Hot take. I think the NFL's figured him out. kind of like how RG3 had all the success in Washington. Granted, he got hurt, but he still has never been the same player since. The NFL knew how to defend him, how to stop what Washington wanted to do. There's a reason he's now a journeyman quarterback, and there's a reason why the Browns took a flyer on him. RG3 has won 2 fewer games in his last 7 seasons than his rookie year. So combine that with injuries, and teams know how to stop these mobile quarterbacks like him, because I think Kyler Murray is just completely different. But I think the Baltimore Ravens are in a downward spiral. I hope they don't get out of it. It'll be interesting to see if they do. But I think this could be the beginning of the end already.
I think you're definitely right, which is great because I would love to watch the Ravens tumble because I've had to watch them do the Browns so dirty for so long. I would love to watch the Ravens suffer. At least John Harbaugh. Is that Rick James? This is Rick James. I'm Rick James, bitch. What was I saying before Rick James came on?
We were talking about how you don't care what happens to Harbaugh, but
that's true.
And I'll just
I do both care. Suck. I want him to suffer. He doesn't have permission to quit yet. You have to lose to us one more time.
Which one? Because they're both going to lose to us because they both suck. Jim, John, whichever. They can flip flop spots and go coach the other team for each other. Truth be told, I like kicking their ass, and I don't think Jim Harbaugh's that great. And John Harbaugh looks like he's in a little bit of a predicament.
Yeah, a little bit of a predicament. You could say so. Hey, we've already taken a look at the AFC standings. Let's go ahead and take an updated look at the NFC standings. Now, the only game that wasn't updated from the last time we checked in was the Eagles. They took another L because Carson Wentz is a garbage quarterback. I cannot say that anymore. He is garbage. They're 3-7-1, and for somehow they're still only, like a game back of making the playoffs or so, which is disgusting. Seattle still holding it down out west. Packers up north. The number 1 seed and number 2 seed both up for grabs, Mitch, which is kind of wild. With this many games played, there's a lot happening, and that is the NFC. AFC and NFC really packing up, and a lot of good matchups that we're going to go over this week.
Absolutely. And some that'll affect the standings for sure and the playoff race and where teams end up. But going off the top 2 seeds in the NFC, the Packers and the Saints, I do believe those are the 2 best teams. I think one of those 2 are coming out of the NFC. So then you kind of play the schedule game. The Saints are playing with fire a bit, but not really, because Sean Payton knows how to coach without Drew Brees, which is wild to think about. One of the greatest regular season quarterbacks of all time. But the Saints have Atlanta this weekend. You'd have to think even with Taysom Hill, you'll beat them. Not a good team. I mean, they beat last weekend, but that's not because the Raiders suck. And then the Packers this week play Philly, like you said. Mm-hmm. But Philly has a lot to prove, even though they won't, because as far as I know, Carson Wentz is still that quarterback over there. So yeah, that's just not a big game anymore because Carson Wentz plays quarterback for the Eagles still.
Yeah.
He sucks.
You know what's weird is he didn't even take all the first team snaps last week. Like Jalen Hurts took some first team reps last week. Like, why is he taking first team reps? Like, if you're not going to play Carson Wentz, just not play him. Put Jalen Hurts, give him all the first team reps. Like, either give up on him or don't. But, like, doing this halfway thing and kind of making us, like, Doug Peterson's mad that we keep asking him these questions like, who's going to start next week? Who's going to start next week? And it's because he's doing shit like this. This is why we're asking you, Doug Peterson. And you think that we're asking you this just for the shits and giggles. No, we're asking because you're giving somebody like Jalen Hurts first team reps. And that makes us think, hey, maybe he's not going to start Carson Wentz this week.
He's single-handedly making a quarterback controversy.
Yes.
And then wonders why people are asking the question, like, hey, Doug, that's on you. That's not on us asking questions. We're the media is the one that goes to practice and sees Jalen Hurts taking first-team reps. That's on you.
Yes.
Especially if Carson Wentz isn't on the injury report.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it just I think he knows he's in trouble, but I think his saving grace is the fact that at 3-7-1, they can make the playoffs. Like I really think that's the reason he hasn't been fired yet. That and that he won a Super Bowl. But you and I talked about it on the previous show.
We
There's
did.
one common factor since they've won the Super Bowl on why Philly has struggled, and that's Frank Wright leaving to go be the head coach in Indianapolis. And since he's left, Carson Wentz has turned into this god awful quarterback, and the Eagles have struggled. And I really think that that's the reason.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is they gave him a contract that he didn't deserve. He played 13 games the year that he was a MVP candidate, and rightfully so. He was playing unbelievable
Oh,
football. That's
balling. He
why
was balling.
and that's why he was an MVP candidate. And they gave him that massive contract way too early, and now if they cut him next year, it's 60 million in dead money versus the cap. So it's like they're put in an awful position. Yet you drafted a quarterback. Yet you're telling us you don't want to play him. Yet you're giving him first team reps. It's just an absolute mess over there. It's an absolute mess.
It is a mess, but what's even more upsetting is the fact they could still make the playoffs. Like it just.
I don't think they will, but they could.
I don't think they will either, but we're going to see. And I guess we should probably go ahead and look at the games this week and make some picks to see who might help their cause for the playoffs and who might hurt their cause.
Yeah, let's check it out. Game 1, we have New Orleans at Atlanta. I'll give you my take real quick. This is my upset of the week. I'll take Atlanta over New Orleans. Atlanta's playing really good football, and it's a divisional game. You can't underestimate how hard divisional games are. Mitch?
It is a divisional game. I think it'll be tough, but I do like the Saints still. I think their defense is really coming along, and Taysom Hill and Sean Payton work. It's worked so far. Granted, they played a JV team. Actually, no, that's an insult to JV teams. They played School of the Blind last week in Denver and won. But I still like the Saints here. I think they know what needs to happen, and I think they'll get it done in Atlanta this week.
Okay. Next game, Detroit at Chicago. Mitch, who you got?
I'm rolling with Mitch and the Bears. Mitch
Wow.
Trubisky and the Bears. Matt Nagy is on the hot seat. He knows it. I mean, if I know I'm on the hot seat and I want to keep my job, I usually try to do well. I think the Bears get it done this weekend at home in Chicago. You take Detroit, who just fired Matt Patricia, put him outside in this weather. I don't know what to expect from the Lions. That's why I'm going with the Bears.
Okay. I do not think that he's on the hot seat. I think the media is making it seem like he's on the hot seat. Management understands that Matt Nagy has nothing to do with what's going on. Now, the losing streak, yes, he has some stake in that. Obviously, he's the head coach. But he's dealing with Dumb and Dumber at quarterback. Nick Foles, Big Dick Nick, can only throw 90-yard touchdowns when there is no other choice. Like, other than that, he's garbage. And then Mitchell Trubisky, it's just, yeah, I don't know what you want from Matt Nagy. I almost want to take Detroit because every team that has fired their quarterback this year has gone on to start winning games. So I feel like they're going to win this week, but I'm still going to take Chicago because they're going to get back on track. And
yes, they are.
It's going to be a big win if Chicago can win that game because they're right in the thick of things. Game of the week, Mitch.
Game of the week.
You can buy tickets as low as $100. We're going to Nissan Stadium in Nashville this Sunday for the Browns versus the Tennessee Titans. Who do you have in probably the best game of the week?
Oh, I don't think it's probably, Jordan. I think it's safe to say this is the best game of the week. And if you disagree, that's okay, but your opinion's wrong. And it's as simple as that.
Wow.
8-3 versus 8-3, big time game for both teams. I'm going to go with the Titans though. And I don't want to have this taken the wrong way because there's going to be a lot of people out there that say, "Oh, the Browns lost because they're not a good team because they haven't played anybody." If the Browns hang in here and lose by a touchdown or less, I think that still proves to people they can hang.
Absolutely.
I just like Tennessee. I'm just trying to figure out if Tennessee runs the opposite way of Myles Garrett, who is tackling Derrick Henry? Because if you tell me it's number 23, then there's going to be a lot of memes and a lot of pictures of stiff arms this weekend from Derrick Henry on Andrew Sandejo. Although the Browns have Nick Chubb. But when you look at it, this is a bigger game for Tennessee because they now lead their division and they want to assure they get that home playoff game. The Browns can't win. They still can, but it's going to take a lot and probably won't happen to win the division. Whereas if you lose this game, if you're the Cleveland Browns, you rebound next week on Monday Night Football against the Ravens. So you have a chance at redemption. But all in all, I like Tennessee this weekend over our Cleveland Browns, but I do think it's closer than people think. I think the spread right now is 5.5, 6 points. And I would take the Browns plus 5.5, plus 6, but I still expect the Titans to win.
Listen to me. Do you see that back there? Let me go to
Yeah,
the
I see
screen.
it.
Do you see that?
Oh, I see it.
They're taking the L this week because they're not. There's no way they're taking the dub. Tennessee is on just. They're playing arguably the best football right now in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Their play action pass is on, and it's because Derrick Henry is putting people on his back. Full beast mode, Marshawn Lynch style. He's just such a physical specimen. Like, I don't know where he was made, but surely he didn't come out of a woman. You know what I mean? Like, he's huge. Like, he's a bad mamma jamma. I like them by 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to stop their run. Myles Garrett's just getting back.
He's on a snap count.
Yeah.
He will be on a snap count. So that hurts them too.
It'll be interesting, but I think we're going to get out coached in this game, and I think we're going to really, really, really see how great of a coach Vrabel is come Sunday. Because I think they're going to have a great game plan, and I think they're going to play with a lot of fire. So let's go ahead and move on, because we got a lot of games. Next, Cincinnati at Miami. Mitch, the Dolphins are trying to make the playoffs for the first time in a long time. Did they get the win this Sunday?
Not only are they going to get the win, Jordan, this is my lock of the week. The Dolphins over the Joe Burrow-less Bengals. I expect Fitzmagic, who is starting again this week. Tua is still out. I expect Miami to do what needs to be done under Flores, and I think they beat the Bengals by 2+ scores easily.
Wow. Wow. That's how good that was, Mitch. Well, that was great. The fact that you think the Dolphins are going to win against the Cincinnati Bengals, do you know how bad the Miami Dolphins are going to beat the Cincinnati Bengals? Do you understand?
I heard they might take it off TV. Is that's how bad it's going to be? The kids can't watch it.
I hope I confuse somebody out there with how I explained it. But Miami is a slightly better than average team that has great coaching. Cincinnati, not well coached. They don't even have a quarterback. They couldn't protect the one they had, let alone.
And Joe Mixon, is he hurt? Is he not hurt? What happened to the guy? He hasn't played in weeks. Nobody knows. I don't even think the Bengals know.
Well, it's funny because I watched the Bengals a couple times this year. In the games that I watched the Bengals, they looked really good. And the best part is everybody's been shitting on the Browns for their wins. They haven't beaten anybody. The game after we beat the Bengals beat the Tennessee Titans. They whooped the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
And then, trouble started to happen, and obviously, Joe Burrow's out for the season. I got the Dolphins. I'll take the Dolphins. Moving on, good. Jacksonville at Minnesota. Minnesota is my team that I said that was my dark horse pick to make the playoffs and maybe do some things in the playoffs. I'll obviously take them over Jacksonville, Mitch, because I watched Jacksonville play last week. Minnesota's playing really good football. I think they've won their last 4 out of 5. Jacksonville's probably going to start Mike Glennon, so I have to take the Vikings. Who do you got?
Oh, I'm taking the Vikings too. That's a great lock pick by you. But this is a huge game for Minnesota because of another matchup we're going to preview later. If the Vikings can win, there's a game later that we're going to discuss in the 4:00 window with 2 playoff teams playing each other that are both ahead of the Vikings. So the Vikings need to take care of their business and get a win. So I really think Minnesota comes out and gets it done. Simple as that. I don't think Jacksonville's very good, even though the Browns made them look average. But hey, it happens. It's the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, some weeks you have bad weeks. I mean, Russell Wilson's thrown multiple interceptions twice this year in 2 games, and he's
Yeah.
a top 3 quarterback in my eyes. So it's yeah, it happens. You have off days. Off days. Let's move on. Next game, we have the Las Vegas Raiders at the New York Jets. Tickets going as low as bring your ass for free, because that's how bad the Jets are. You really suck. Like, they're
Yeah.
atrocious. It's
They're
unbelievable.
terrible.
They're worse than the
Terrible.
Browns teams that we watched go 1-31 in those 2
Oh,
years.
by far. But Sam Darnold finally has his healthy wide receivers. So now he can overthrow all the healthy wide receivers by 10 yards and put them in harm's way. So it's really good to see if you're the Jets. But the Raiders are not a good football team. And if you want to know why, then you can check out the last snippet we put out from episode 4 of my take on the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep it as simple as this. The New York Jets aren't going to join the Browns and Lions in the winless column.
Wow. You're taking the
Derek
Jets.
Carr, John Gruden cannot travel to the East Coast. We've seen it too many times this year, except for when they played week 1.
Not
They're
versus the Jets. You crazy
Nobody
man.
thought, hey, what you thought they were going to roll past the Falcons last weekend.
Yeah, but then they were like, caw, and they just came in.
Yeah, so what do you think's going to happen when the national anthem had the Jets go over, boom, and Derek Carr's going to be pooping himself and fumble the ball 5 times this weekend and throw 6 pick sixes, and Jets get the win.
All right. You know why I was doing that? I had to act ridiculous, just like how you're acting right now, which is ridiculous. What a ridiculous take. I have Las Vegas by all the touchdowns. Not one touchdown, all the touchdowns. Las Vegas wins. A very interesting game is being played next week. And honestly, I wanted this game to be my lock of the week. It's Indianapolis at Houston. And for some reason, I feel like Houston is just going to handle the Colts. I really feel that way. Houston's playing really well, and the Colts have really, man, that last week, that took all my confidence out of the Colts. Just like, if you're going to get destroyed how you got destroyed, doing what you do really well, like, it was just bad. It got out of hand. Like, a resilient team that I thought was resilient, at least, is not the team I thought they were. I think I was cheated by thinking the Colts were better than they were. I led people astray.
It happens.
The Colts.
It happens.
They were number 6 in my power rankings last week, and I unveiled our power rankings Tuesday, and I had them outside my top 10. You even had them in your top 10 still. And so
I did.
That game was unfortunate. I think Houston gets the job done, and I think that's going to be a fun game to watch.
Who's the Texans head coach?
Romeo Crennel.
All right, thank you. I'll take Indy plus 10. It's not. I mean, it's. I think Indianapolis gets back on track, and it's as simple as that. Deshaun Watson is not going to play well against a good defense. He hasn't all year, and yeah, that's as simple as that. Colts.
Okay, all right. We'll differ. We got Los Angeles at Arizona. Now, talk about something that has a lot of playoff implications. This Los Angeles at Arizona game is a huge game. If you look at the NFC standings, not much separates these teams. Only a game. And so this is a enormous game for Los Angeles and Arizona. And I'm trying to think who won the first matchup this year. Trying to look back and to see. I don't know. I can't find it. But this game's going to be a huge game. So, oh no, they haven't played them yet. Not only do they play the Cardinals this next game, but the Rams play the Cardinals to close out the season. Wow, that's unbelievable. I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is the game earlier I was referring to when we were talking about the Vikings. This is why the Vikings need to win, because both these teams are ahead of them and they play each other another time. So there's a chance that whoever wins this game, the Vikings are going to be rooting for when they meet up again in week 17 of the season, because that would help the Vikings sneak into the playoffs if they take care of their business. But Jordan, this is the second best game of the week behind the Browns and Titans, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4:00 game by far. I mean,
Hey,
ticket prices
as
are
low as
not
$24 right now. As low, guys, as $24. So how about you hop on a plane down to Houston, Spirit Airlines. Those are only like $10 plane tickets. Wow, $10 plane tickets, $24. You can get
and
a
a
round trip ticket to Houston right now for $34.
and a free
Check it out.
COVID ticket too. Apparently, I like the Rams. I think the Rams beat the Cardinals this weekend. The defense is what stands out for me. Aaron Donald, Defensive Player of the Year, and he'll have Kyler Murray
No,
rattled.
no. Cardinals get this thing back on track. Cliff Kingsbury and Murray sat down. They figured it out. They're a young team. They're just figuring this whole process out. I mean, I want to call him Cliff Sperry. That's what I'm going to call him from now on.
Cliff Sperry.
Cliff Sperry, wasn't even a good college coach. He was like 6-6 at Texas Tech. He didn't have a.
Oh yeah, he was not good.
He wasn't great in college, so he's just figuring this thing out. He's a young coach. Obviously, he's bright. But I think that they're going to get this thing back on track. I got the Cardinals. Next game is New York at Seattle.
Seattle.
Let's not talk about that much.
You can just skip. This is
I know.
This is a charity game next. Packers.
Yeah, Philadelphia at Green Bay on CBS. I think we'll both take Green Bay.
Oh yeah, I'll take Green Bay.
Yeah. New England at Los Angeles. The Chargers. Who you got?
Go Chargers.
Go Chargers?
Chargers.
Yeah, I like it too. Herbert, Denver at Kansas City.
Not a question. Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs are firing all cylinders right now. They're going to get the win at home on Sunday Night Football.
Yep, completely agree with you. Washington at Pittsburgh. Now, remember, guys, Pittsburgh played yesterday. So what a quick turnaround from Wednesday to Sunday. Incredible turnaround. So let's see how Pittsburgh handles that. That could be a trap game for Pittsburgh because remember, Washington does have a very good defensive line. Tickets as low as $227. Holy smokes. People want to go watch the Steelers. Who you got?
I'm just happy you mentioned trap game on my sheet here when I was going through things. I have this listed as a trap game. I think Washington has a real good chance just because of the short week. But I think because of how bad Pittsburgh played yesterday and the comments Mike Tomlin made after the game, I think it's inevitable the Steelers come out and take care of business, beat Washington, and move to 12-0 in, 5 days? 3 or 4 days?
Yeah, well, it was really interesting to see how upset Mike Tomlin was, like in his press conference.
Yeah.
Because it was he was genuinely upset. Usually we see people say things, but it's never said with that much emotion at all. But you could just tell exactly how he felt. Very much so that he broke down a play in basically every segment of the game that they messed up on. I think if I had to take a head coach, I'd be taking Mike Tomlin right now. If I had to pick one to start a team with, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, there's no questions asked about that. No questions.
Yeah. So we both had Pittsburgh in this game?
Yes.
Yep. And that's a really early Monday night game. It's a 5 p.m. game.
Yeah, the Steelers playing at some awkward times here.
Yeah, they've really gotten screwed by how things have gotten moved around this year. Some of it their fault, some of it other people's fault, and some of it just dumb luck.
Yep.
I mean, we are in a pandemic. Like, let's not forget this. We should be lucky that we even have football right now. It's kind of crazy that we're playing games. And the NFL has had the least amount of, interruptions. So, I mean, this is, I'm just thankful we have football. Last game. Actually, second to last.
Two.
Game,
you got two.
Tuesday. Gosh, we have another Tuesday game. We have Buffalo at San Fran. Buffalo was in my special segment that we put out the other day. That was the team that is converting everything on third down, 49%. I think this is a trap game for Buffalo. I think San Fran wins. They've gotten some defensive pieces back, and I think Mullins gets it done.
Nobody circles the wagons
Like
like
the
the Buffalo
Bills.
Bills, and they're going to take their wagons and they're going to circle around
Mhm.
State Farm Stadium in Arizona. Let's remember that they don't play in the Bay anymore because of the rules out there. I like the Bills on Monday Night Football. Josh Allen and the Bills get it done. They move to 9-3.
I like it. Last game, Mitch.
Do we like it's?
I mean, is this a real game? I mean,
I
do we
just
have to
I don't
think
know what
about it?
to expect. Is Lamar Jackson back? I mean, if the Ravens are going to start Trace McSorley, I think they'll beat the Cowboys.
Well, I think we should
Um,
tell everybody what game this is first. It's Dallas at Baltimore, 8:05 p.m. at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. Mitch, keep going.
if Trace McSorley starts, I believe in Trace McSorley and the Ravens. We don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to be back in all seriousness. If he's not, Dallas has a really good shot to win. But if you look at the roster comparison, I think the Ravens have a better roster. Even though there's dysfunction, they still have the better coach over Mike McCarthy, who is terrible. The Ravens win this game, I think, with or without Lamar Jackson.
I like Dallas. I think Skip Bayless gets onto the field. I think he is happens to be the line judge. And I think in the third quarter, he may play a little defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. They're going to get the job done. I like Dallas. I think the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, throws for 4 touchdowns, 900 yards. And I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys.
All right then. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's almost like picking the Jets. I mean, I don't know why I got so much shit for my pick, but okay, we'll move on.
It's all right.
Yeah, we'll move on. So we'll keep this one quick.
Hold on. That's
Top
actually
three.
hold on. That's my lock of the week. I'll take Dallas Cowboys over the Baltimore Ravens for my lock of the week.
You're backing off the Vikings,
Yeah.
and now you're moving over to the Cowboys bandwagon.
I would like to say this. Can I say this? Thank you.
Go ahead. Hey, the floor is yours. This is our
I
show.
will take the Cowboys over the Baltimore Ravens this next weekend. That's my lock of the week. I had to take out
All
my
right.
headphones for that. That's my
It's
lock.
documented. We'll run it back next week to see who had the worst take of the week.
We'll
but
take a shot on Tuesday afternoon. If that's what we'll put on the line. If the Cowboys win on the show, that's how you got to start the show, son.
and if the Jets win,
And you have to go buy Kamchekta, that vodka. Yeah, that's what you have to take too.
all right. Okay. Yeah. Deal.
Deal. All
But
right.
I don't think any of your 3 MVP candidates play for the Cowboys or the Ravens. And if they do, then they're not a legitimate candidate, Jordan. Who are your top 3 MVP candidates after week 12 heading into week 13?
Here's the thing. There's a lot of good players, Mitch. I'm glad you asked me this question. A lot of good players. And, I think everybody is the best player, Mitch. No, that's not true at all. Big differences between everybody. People are unique. Some people suck. Some people are great. Let me tell you who are the best 3 current NFL players. At number 3, I'm going to take Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald has 10 sacks this year, 13 tackles for losses, and he has forced 4 fumbles. He is probably the best defensive player in the NFL. If Myles Garrett had not missed 2 games, I might say Myles Garrett instead of Aaron Donald, but I can't right now. So Aaron Donald at 3. At number 2, I have somebody from the Green Bay Packers. His name is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has had a really good season. He's thrown for 33 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, Mitch, just over 3,100 yards. Now, the only reason I have him at number 2 in the MVP race is the fact that I watched him play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and
I saw that.
they got smashed. And he just played really bad. And it's not that someone can't have a bad game and be one of the best. He is still one of the best. But because of that, I have him at number 2 because the guy I have at number 1, he doesn't make mistakes. And his name is Patrick Mahomes. That's his counterpartner in his commercials. And now he has the baton now. He has the baton. He has 30 touchdowns for the season, 2 interceptions, and his team's only lost 1 game. And so that is my 3-1. I have Aaron Donald. Runner up, I have Aaron Rodgers, and then Patrick Mahomes. What do you got?
All right. I'm going to start one and go to three. One is same one as you. It's Pat Mahomes right now. He's playing like he showed us last year in the MVP he was a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing out of his mind. He's the best player in football. Number two, Nick Chubb. The Browns are 6-1 with him. That one loss coming week 1 against the Ravens, which if you ask most people, they don't count it. It was week 1 of no preseason, new system, new head coach. Nick Chubb is 2. And then number 3, he didn't play well his last game. He actually played really bad, but I had this picked out already. I'm going to stick to it. Big Ben.
Oh my gosh.
But why? Hold on. But why? But why? Last year, the Steelers were 8-8 without him. This year, they're 11-0 with him at quarterback. That makes a big deal. Take it as you wish.
No way.
But
oh my gosh.
That is so rough.
Where would they be without him? Where would they be without him?
They probably.
Where would they be with Mason Rudolph?
It wouldn't be Mason Rudolph. They would have got somebody else, and they would probably be at least 8-3. They're not winning on the back of Ben Roethlisberger. They're winning on the back of a unbelievable defense. They're not. No.
They're not losing because of their quarterback.
If you look at
last year, they did.
If you look at every phase of their game, literally at the quarterback might be their worst. But honest to God, I think he's a liability. I do not think that he is what you need to lean on to win games, and he's not even the best part of their team.
Listen, last year without him, 8-8. They lost games because of their quarterback. This year with him, 11-0, haven't lost, and he isn't making them lose. He's valuable.
He is valuable, but let's say this. The Steelers' games that they've won thus far this season, they have more quality wins last year than they did this year.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But at the end of the day, you play who's on your schedule. You play who's on your schedule. The same thing with the Browns. Play nobody. They don't make their schedule.
I agree. Okay. We're changing directions. Mitchell Balla with the afternoon headlines. Mitchell, hit us with the afternoon headlines.
Here are your afternoon headlines. First up, we touched on it earlier. Bud Dupree tears his ACL in Wednesday's afternoon win over the Ravens. How big of a factor will this be for the Steelers, Jordan?
A pretty big factor. Yeah, that depth is important, especially when you're coming to playoff time. That's huge.
Next up, Jets head coach Adam Gase admitted that he has failed to groom quarterback Sam Darnold. Did he even need to state the obvious?
No, he didn't, but he still says dumb stuff anyways.
Ryan Day, head coach at Ohio State, who is out this weekend, announced that Ohio State will be shorthanded this weekend versus Michigan State. The list of players will be released tomorrow. Are you worried at all?
I am not.
Next up, Minnesota Timberwolves Malik Beasley was caught holding Larissa Pippen's hand out in public while shopping in Miami last month, Jordan. Larissa Pippen is Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. But Malik Beasley's girlfriend, Montana Yao, said, in quotes, "This is wild," because she had no idea they were hanging out.
It's a bad move.
What are your thoughts on this after Malik Beasley, who has a girlfriend, I believe some articles say fiance. I don't want to confirm that.
Someone's getting their ass beat. That's really what this is going to come down to. Someone's going to get their ass beat. And you know what? I'm just going to have to show up every Tuesday and Thursday for the afternoon headlines, and I guess I'm just going to have to find out what happens through that medium. But someone is going to get their ass beat.
And one more headline before we move on to our final segment of the show, Jordan, and welcoming a new guest. But this headline means a lot to me. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take the floor.
Oh, take the floor,
please. And
because I know this is a big day for you.
A very big day. Yesterday, the Cleveland Indians non-tendered right fielder Tyler Naquin. It's about damn time this bum is out of the city of Cleveland, is off my damn baseball team. Hopefully he leaves Ohio. I mean, the Reds aren't going to want him. He's trash. He's a literal trash can. I mean, this man, first off, anybody that wants to say he's a good player. No, he's not. He had 218 last year. 218.
Is that good?
Okay.
Mitch?
No, that's not good. That's not good. And I wish you could get a real accurate stat on how many balls you misplayed in the outfield last year. As an outfielder, your job is to catch the ball. Something Tyler Naquin hasn't done since his rookie year. And oh, wait, in 2016, Jordan, where did the Indians go in 2016?
I'm gonna say they went to the World Series versus the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, and he must have been an inside agent or have bets or money on the line because Tyler Naquin in game 6 of the 2016 World Series drops a fly ball in the first inning, but Mitch, they lost 9-3. But what most people neglect and don't realize is there are multiple emotional swings in all sporting events. It was 1-0 at that time. That fly ball allows 2 more runs to score with 2 outs. Indians then don't score. And one thing I've always known is if you're not going to do it in the field, you do it at the plate. So let's see what Tyler Naquin, after dropping a fly ball, did at the plate. Oh, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Jordan, is that good?
I'm gonna hold on. Let me check this this book. Hold on. Let me read. Up. Nope. It looks like it's not good.
And so he was benched then after 2 plate appearances, which were too many. Cost the Indians game 6 of the World Series. But folks, let me tell you, Tyler Naquin, the 6'2" outfielder from Texas A&M, is finally off my damn baseball team. The Indians can finally get a right fielder who can hit, who can catch a fly ball. But Mitch, he hit an inside the park walk-off home run. Yeah, well, you know who else hit an inside the park home run? Edwin Encarnacion. What about but Mitch?
Is that supposed to go ahead?
He has a really good arm. Yeah, he has a really good arm when he can catch a damn fly ball. He is a trash can. But I'll be nice today. He is not a plastic trash can like you see on the side of the road sometimes. He's a metal trash can. So what I think's best is he'll go to Houston and all the Astros can bang on him because that's the only thing he'd be good for down there to help them cheat because Tyler Naquin is a certified bum, a terrible baseball player. And if you think he's good, then get out. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Tyler Naquin, see you never. I'm just happy you're off my damn baseball team.
Holding the ears for Barry right now. Watch your language.
I try to keep it. I saw Barry back there. I try to keep it PG. But do you have?
Just be glad he's off your baseball team.
I'm glad that we got rid of. Yeah, I'm glad we got rid of a guy who hits 218 that everyone adored. I'm glad we got rid of a guy who struck out 40 times last year in a 60-game season. Keep in mind, he didn't even start every game and only walked 5 times. Yeah, real team guy there getting on base. Didn't have a stolen base. That's bad for an outfielder. We'll just keep it there, though. Yeah, I could go all day, but I don't know if you have any thoughts before we move to the next segment. But Tyler Naquin, goodbye, good riddance. You suck.
New segment, NBA, and we have a caller. We have Sam Summers calling in. Let's get Sam in here. Sam, what's going on? Welcome to Cover Your Balls.
Hello. Hey, thanks, Cover Your Balls. Thanks for having me on today. I'm really excited.
I'm really excited to have you on, Sam. Glasses look awesome. You look
man of the people.
Super studious. Were you just reading a book, perhaps?
You know, what can I say? You know what? It's exam week here. I've been hitting the books hard. Haven't left the house much. I got my denim on. Gonna go out to the bars tonight, have a few drinks, and enjoy myself. So.
Oh man! Well, you tell the ladies out there, Sam, that we said hi, and tell them to cover their balls.
I will. Every Tuesday and Thursday, live at 4 p.m.
Yes. If you didn't catch it, Sam said he was studying. Sam, for those that don't know, where do you go to school?
I go to the prestigious Kent State University. If you don't know, many regard the MAC as the Ivy League of the Midwest.
Oh my gosh, is that what they? Man, that's weird because I live near Kent. I never heard it called that before. That's interesting.
New age.
I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard it. So Sam, before we jump into the next segment, I know you had a couple things you wanted to talk about. One thing to go with the headlines, maybe 2 things to go with the headlines. So I want to let you get that off before we move on to the NBA.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on one afternoon headline. This was probably, I'd say, a week ago. Our newly elected president, Joe Biden, hairline fracture in his foot playing with his dog, Major. This is just a bad look for America. We have our president breaking his foot doing a simple activity. Uh, we already look like we're in shambles, and now it's just like it looks like a Barnum and Bailey's performance here. I'm nervous, but
Well,
you know.
Sam, whose foot injury appears to be worse? Would it be Joe Biden playing with his dog, or me in pool basketball?
I'd probably have to say you. Very reminiscent of Zdrunas Ilgauskas, longtime
Oh,
Cavalier.
Z.
I'll take that. I'll
Big Z,
take that one.
baby.
Big Z.
I'm glad we got that one out. But Sam, you wanted to perhaps fix the narrative on something?
Yeah, first and foremost, I just want to apologize for the Kent State's defensive performance on Saturday. We lost 70-41. I'm not sure I've ever seen a score that high in my whole entire life. Maction has provided some great early on football this college football season. It's been a lot better than some conferences, say the Big 12.
Oh, that's a fact.
We gave up 409 yards and 8 touchdowns to Jair Patterson. His twin brother, James Patterson, is on the same team. That's very cool.
Oh, that's so
Jair
cute.
was actually wearing number 41. Each week, a different player on that team wears 41 for a former player who collapsed during practice in 2016. So that was cool to see. But you know what? The Kent State Golden Flashes are 4-1. We haven't been this good in 50-some years. We won our first bowl game last year. We have a Heisman contending quarterback in Dustin Crum. We have one of the fastest receivers in all of college football in Isaiah McCoy. We have a head coach's coach in Sean Lewis. He's 6'7". He loves his screamo music, and he runs a flash-fast offense. He's an awesome guy. I'm hoping he sticks around, but he'll probably be in a big program here in a few years.
Wow, that was some really detailed Mac action
yeah.
from Sam Summers here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're talking to a Mac expert right here.
I feel like I'm a ESPN Kent State insider right now, and I didn't even pay a subscription. How'd this happen?
We have a listener of the show, Noah Danke, who claims that the Oklahoma Sooners are better than the Kent State football team, and that man is delusional. They have not lost as many games, and the MAC is much more competitive than the Big 12.
Well, obviously, but
that's a given.
I'm glad you did state that, though.
Yeah.
Lots of things happening right now, Sam. I don't know if you've been watching, watching any little sports with some balls in it. Lots of stuff going on, even in sports where they're not even playing with their balls. That sport is the NBA. Did you see John Wall got traded, and so did Russell Westbrook? What'd you think about that trade?
I love it, and I'll get to that. I have 11 NBA teams on the ledger today. I'm going to tell you why I like them, why I hate them, and who to watch out for this NBA season. I love some basketball, and I'm pretty excited for this year. Starting off, we got the Boston Celtics. I think they're trending up. I think this might be the year they make the NBA championship. They get rid of Gordon Hayward, who was good 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. He cost them millions and millions of dollars, and he was just a huge disappointment.
Yeah, 30.
They got rid of Enes Kanter, who's just been a disappointment his whole career. They signed longtime Cavalier Tristan Thompson. I'm very excited for him. He's going to be a great Celtic. They signed Jeff Green as well from the Hawks, and he's going to be a great fit. Perfect backup.
Just trying to get all the old, Cavs players. Getting Jeff Green up there. Getting Tristan Thompson. Who else do they have to get back in that group? Sasha Pavlovich. Get some.
Yeah, worked before. Maybe Donyell Marshall. I've heard he's on the market. We'll see if he gets signed this year.
Only if we get Wesley Pearson.
Oh.
We've got I believe it's 72 games this year for the NBA. We start December 22nd. So it'll be a shortened season. It'll be interesting to see if they even make it all the way through.
Are you guys okay with that? Are you guys okay with 72 games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'd be better off with a shortened season. 82 games is just way too long for a regular season, especially in the NBA, who is the shortest offseason out of our four major sports here.
Yeah, well, and 72 still seems like a lot. It seems like they really had to cramp this in because, I mean, if you didn't play in the bubble, you had like what 60 days, basically. Well, not 60 days off, but because they did do other activities, but you really, I mean, you had some significant time off. The Lakers, in the teams that made it later in the NBA playoffs, they don't have that much time. So do you expect
Mhm.
LeBron and some of those guys to play? You guys think a lot of the games early on? You think they're gonna really maybe load management? Do you think it would be okay with people if the Lakers, who have a couple players that are a little older, if they use load management? Would that bother you guys?
Not at all.
No, not at all. Mm-mm.
Okay.
They just won a championship. We know LeBron is getting up there in age, even though he's still the best player in the league. But there's going to be people that do it, and there's going to be people that do it that shouldn't. And yeah, I'm looking at you, Kawhi Leonard, and the Clippers. I mean, pathetic last year. You load manage all year, and you get to the playoffs, and you just weren't good. I mean, you guys are overrated as hell. So I don't think we'll see them load manage. And if they do, then we'll just see them get knocked out again.
Yeah. Well, I guess we really saw the
Yeah,
importance of
absolutely.
having team chemistry and actually playing games with one another. Who would have thought that, that's how what you had to do to be successful? A bunch of joke.
And we saw for years the Spurs dynasty with Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. Coach Popovich loves doing his load management. I think it's time for LeBron to take a step back in the regular season. He hasn't lost a step yet, but Father Time's undefeated, so that one day will come.
Well, I think he did take a step back from playing deep. I mean, he hasn't really played defense. So, I mean, even though he hasn't stepped back in minutes, I mean, he really hasn't played defense um, most of his games in recent years, unless he's absolutely had to play defense. So I feel like he is using his energies a little better than he used to because, he can facilitate the game. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting, Sam and Mitch, to see what if he does take a little more time off in areas, how long that'll prolong his career. Because I think that's something that he should. I don't think he should be playing 38 minutes a night. They need to figure out how
No.
to get that down to where maybe he's playing anywhere from 26 to 34 a night. That'd be a huge difference. They have 10 to 11 guys who can play this game. They legit have two starting fives that possibly could make the playoffs if they split up their own stinking team. So why not
Yeah.
play the long game? You just got all these guys in free agency, um, and you just locked up LBJ and AD with these massive contracts in the last 48 hours. What do you think that means for the city of LA right now? Do you think everybody there is feeling pretty confident about having a chance to repeat and knowing that they have their guys locked up for years to come? Maybe they don't
Yep.
think this is just another year thing. Maybe they're thinking a couple more years. What do you guys think?
Sam, I'll let you start it.
They should be very confident. Yeah, they should be very confident. I think the Lakers repeat this year. I'm very confident in that. LeBron, he wants another ring. LeBron wants 6 rings. Anthony Davis is a monster. He'll probably win MVP this year. Montrezl Harrell was a fantastic signing. He's just a very tough player. He plays hard and he's got some skill. That's going to be great for the Clippers versus Lakers rivalry. And then they added Dennis Schroeder, who's always a great point guard. They lost Rajon Rondo. That will be interesting, but the Lakers got it again this year.
I completely agree. I think the
Yeah.
Lakers are the front running favorite to win the finals again, and the additions they made only help prove that. I do think that you're right that Anthony Davis will have a legitimate case for MVP this year, kind of like what we expected LeBron and Kyrie to do before Kyrie, started his bitching and everything, and left Cleveland.
Yeah.
But the Lakers are clear cut the best team in the NBA, and I do expect them to repeat, and I do expect LeBron to take time off in the regular season, but that's justified in my opinion. He's never been one to really do it a whole lot before. And when you're the greatest player in the league, and up for argument as the greatest player of all time, then you can do whatever you want.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So where do you guys think this trade that's happened in the last really 6 or 8 hours? Where do you think John Wall and Russell Westbrook? What do you think about this trade? Who do you think won this trade?
Sam, you can go ahead with this one. I know you have some big topic.
Because it was
Yeah,
a
I
huge
think the
trade.
Wizards won this trade by far. They now have two of the best guards in all of NBA. Bradley Beal is fantastic, and Russell Westbrook is just a great point guard to have on your team. He's not the best shooter, but he's an MVP.
Do you think
He
they
averages
fit?
10 rebounds a game, 10 assists a game. If you look at Paul George when he played with the Thunder, he was an MVP candidate. He played well in the playoffs, and you look at Paul George when he was on the Clippers, he was horrible in the playoffs. I think Russell Westbrook is somebody that you can take on your team, and he makes other people around him better. John Wall hasn't played in 2 years. I like John Wall, but he's probably going to lose that athleticism, and that's kind of what separates John Wall from the rest of the pack is just his overall athleticism. The Rockets are super dysfunctional. They're a small ball team. They just fired Mike D'Antoni, first year for their GM. They are, let's see, an over-under for 35 and a half wins this year. And I
Wow.
honestly, I like that under. I don't think the Rockets are going to play very well this year. And you know what? James Harden still very well may be traded.
Well, so a couple things. They were a small ball team. You know, they've lost their general manager and they lost their head coach. So who knows the exact style of basketball they're going to play. Maybe the style they want to play is not small ball now that they got. I don't know what their plan is, but maybe that changes. You said Russell Westbrook makes his teammates better. I think he makes his teammates better for sure, but I think he makes competent, like superstars, significantly worse. Although he does make the average player better, like LeBron, and I don't think there's that many other players like Russell Westbrook who makes their teammates better. You think it's pretty safe to say that he does make everybody better outside of superstars? And is that an indictment on Russell Westbrook that, you know, he can work with anybody else, but he just can't work with any of these other superstars?
I think it has to do with his mentality. He does have that, diva persona, and whether it's right or wrong, it's kind of, been proved to be true. I didn't think the Rockets were going to work. James Harden and Westbrook already played together. But we'll see. I love the Wizards. They have Bradley Beal, Rui Hachimura. They got Mo Wagner. They got Davis Bertans. They signed Robin Lopez, and they drafted Denny Avija. They've got a good young squad, and Beal's hungry. They snubbed them from the All-Star team last year. I think he scored 50 like 5 or 6 times during the season. Bradley Beal is somebody I really, really wanted on the Cavaliers. He got drafted right before our pick, and we picked Dion Waiters. The Wizards are going to be something to look out for. I think the Wizards may be the 4th or 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs this year.
Whew.
Wow.
And I like Bradley Beal as an MVP candidate as well.
I don't think that. I mean, how many games did they win last year? Like 20. I mean, Bradley Beal led a team that was like almost 20 games under 500. Do you guys think Bradley Beal's that good?
I think Bradley.
Do you think he fits in with Russell Westbrook?
I do. I think that Russell Westbrook didn't fit in with James Harden because of how ball dominant James Harden is and the type of style they play. I think that the Wizards didn't win this trade specifically because John Wall hasn't played in 2 years, and the first round pick is lottery protected. What you're telling me if you're the Rockets that you had no better offers, you couldn't even get that a top 5 protected pick? I mean, you're not getting a top 13 pick now, and you get a guy who hasn't played in 2 years. I think Westbrook and Beal will work. I just think that Westbrook and Harden was too forced, and it was the wrong style of play for them with the wrong head coach. So I think the Wizards win this, and I think Bradley Beal will benefit immensely from having a guard that can drive and finish, but also distribute to Beal outside on the wings and vice versa.
I like that. I definitely agree. It's there's a lot of stuff happening in the NBA that gets me really excited for the season. Typically, I wouldn't be this excited for the NBA season with us just basically ending a season, 2 months ago? Not even 2 months, like 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago.
Something like that.
I find myself really hungry to watch some NBA basketball, and I don't feel like I'm the only one. I feel like this is I feel like the NBA is really picking up momentum again, and it's kind of like it was before the pandemic happened. And it
Oh
hasn't
yeah.
been like that for all the sports, so that's good for the NBA. I'm
Yeah.
just concerned with how they're going to go about this season, with all the stuff, all the rules they're going to have to follow with COVID. What are they going to do with travel? I mean, the Raptors currently can't even play games in Canada, so they're playing games down in Miami, correct?
Tampa, the Tampa
Tampa.
Tampa Bay Raptors.
So we have the Tampa Bay Raptors right now. So
Yeah.
it's a really weird thing. I'm really excited to see how all of this plays out because there's a lot of stuff going on. There's some news going on up in Cleveland. There's some things happening with this Cleveland Cavalier team, and I want to hop into that with their nasty ass new uniforms that are unbelievably awful, but a pretty cool court. I don't know if you guys saw the new specs for the court. Like it's like going to be like a gray court, so that's pretty neat. But
Yeah.
what they didn't change was their team. Their team still sucks. So they changed the jerseys, and they changed the court. Are they hoping we don't see these guys on the court playing, or that we forget who they are? Is that why they're doing all this other change and stuff? Like
They're
we still suck. We didn't change
they're just
anything.
doing anything to get you to tune in and watch the game with the bad product they have. They're like, hey, come watch us play on this real cool court that we had a preschooler make the C of in the middle of the court because I mean I don't know, it's a cool court, but the C literally looks like a 5-year-old tried to draw it. It's bad. They're going to be the youngest team in the NBA by far, I think. 4 guys at 21 or younger, and then you put that with Kevin Love's contract and Andre Drummond making absurd money for 1 year. They don't have a lot to work with. So, I mean, at this point, I'm already looking ahead to the lottery. The over-under for the Cavs, I believe, is 20.5, 21.5, Sam. I'm hammering the under. I don't expect this team to do a whole lot, but there's been good words out of Independence where their facility is, that Colin Sexton has become more of a leader. Garland's put on some good weight. Okoro is supposed to be this great defender. Kevin Love is, looking great shape. The big question mark is Kevin Porter Jr. and the off the court issues he's had, but I don't know what to expect. So that's why I'm not expecting a whole lot from this Cavs team. It's a lot different when LeBron James isn't on your team, and it sucks.
I'll tell you what, I love the Cavs this year. They played horrible early on last season, and they had a horrible head coach, John Beeline. The team was playing like a bunch of slugs, and he said thugs. He obviously wasn't a great leader. I like JB Bickerstaff. I think he's got that team young, ready, and hungry. We added JaVale McGee. Another year for DG and Colin. KPJ, at times, he has those off-the-court issues, so we'll see about him. Dylan Windler, maybe he'll play this year. I don't think he played one game last year.
He did.
Like I said, we got Kevin Love, we got Chetty, we got Larry Jr., Andre Drummond, we got NBA champ, Dellavedova. The biggest move from this NBA offseason, I'll tell you what, it actually comes from the Cleveland Cavaliers. While the Milwaukee Bucks are making all of their trades and signings to hope Giannis stays, the Cavs got the Bucks to remove their protection from their 2022 first-round pick. As we all know, Giannis will be leaving after this year. He'll be going down to Miami. Maybe he'll be going to Washington. So the Cavs are setting themselves up for a pretty bright future. We'll see how Okoro turns out. He tore his ACL in the Sweet 16 his freshman year. So I'm a little nervous about him, but he's a great defender. I'm taking the over. It's 22.5. I like the Cavs for 24 wins.
Yeah, I think they get over 24 wins. I'm actually pretty confident that they do.
Well, I mean, I'm the odd man out then.
You have to be almost tanking to have almost 20 wins or below. You almost have to be almost tanking. I mean, those teams that
I still think they are, though.
Games are bad.
I still think they're tanking.
Yeah, I just don't know enough about the class coming out next year. I think we like our young crew. I think Colin Sexton might make the leap to an all-star, maybe superstar one day. He's got phenomenal scoring ability. He's just not a point guard. At least from what's shown, he's just not a point guard.
Yeah. Yeah, only time will tell. I mean, these guys are young, so we'll find out. Let's go ahead into some audience questions, unless you guys have anything else to say about that.
I sure don't.
All right, let's hop into some of
I'm
these.
good. I'm good.
All right, let's check out what we have.
I was going to say, I know Jordan posted something on social media earlier asking, some questions, posing it to followers of his that we're going to get the answers to.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. In the meantime, I'll give the audience and you guys my locks of the week. I love the Rams over the Cardinals. I think the Rams might
Yeah.
win the Super Bowl this year. Aaron Donald is unstoppable. They got Jalen Ramsey, who will lock up your best receiver. They've got I don't know his first name. His last name's Williams on the other side of Ramsey. He's fantastic. The Cardinals are going to be a great team one day. They're not there yet. And I love the Jags versus Vikings over 49.5. Neither team plays good defense.
I can rock with all that.
Yeah.
Man, Sam Summers coming in here. He's done his research. You think that he would
I've
just
got
man
the
would just
notes.
walk in here and not do that? I can hear the notes. I can hear all the notes. How many notes you got over there? Got some good notes.
You know what? I got 2 pages of notes. I know my arch nemesis, Big Mike, might be watching the show today, so I wanted to spin some facts for Big Mike over there. He bested me in fantasy football this week, but he's lucky. I haven't set my lineup in about 4 weeks now. I'm in the playoffs. I'm just getting ready for the championship.
Wow, that's confidence. Somebody seems pretty confident that the Steelers are going to win the Super Bowl. Guys, are the Steelers a lock to win the Super Bowl? Because a lot of people think they are.
No. Let me answer me this. Did the Chiefs stop playing football?
Hold on, I'm getting a call. No. The answer is no.
Okay, and Pat Mahomes still plays quarterback. We checked that earlier. Our sources say yes. So yeah, Steelers aren't a lock to win the Super Bowl. Steelers aren't even a lock to get out of the AFC.
Exactly. You know how I feel about it. You think Big Ben is a MVP candidate. I don't think he is a good enough candidate to clean my toilets in my house right now. I would tell him no. I don't think that he's as good as he thinks he is or anybody else thinks he is. And, Sam must have got kicked out. Sam's coming back in, guys. Wow. All right, we're going triple box. Triple box.
Sam is back now.
He's back. I don't think the Steelers are a lock to even win their first game, and I actually have them losing a first-round game if they don't finish the season strong, and they're not the number 1 seed. They lose in their opening game of the playoffs. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, they are nowhere near a lock to even make the Super Bowl. I actually placed a bet on them to win the Super Bowl a couple weeks back just because I like the odds. So, honestly, I kind of hope they do. But they have a lot of holes in their offense. If you're going to play the Chiefs at all during the playoffs, you better put up 35 points or you're not going to win the game.
Yeah.
Facts.
It doesn't even sound ridiculous. Like, it still sounds ridiculous a little bit because, obviously you're putting a point total on it. And obviously we know 5 touchdowns is it. I mean, the average in the NFL at around 30 to 33. So, 35 is almost a sure lock to win every game, especially when you think that, Patrick Mahomes could be down by 2 possessions, and he could change that in 2 minutes,
Literally.
Yeah, it was crazy when Tyreek was yelling into the stands at the fans. He said, "You guys need to go get some help. You get some help."
Pulling a Shannon Sharp.
And it's just, it's hilarious. They really do need to go get some help because there's no one that can guard that. He's not the best wide receiver in the NFL if I were to line up all 10, but if I had to pick the perfect wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes, it would be Tyreek Hill because they just fit. It's kind of like this. Kyrie Irving is not a number 1 in the NBA. Not at all. However, if he played with LeBron, he was a top 3 to top 5 player in the league as a number 2. But even as a number 1, he's not. I think it's the same thing with Tyreek and Patrick. It's a match made in heaven. And there's no way they get by Kansas City. and I don't think they can get by the Titans right now. I mean, they just struggled to beat Baltimore yesterday, guys. And Trace McSorley was their quarterback. He didn't come from, a place where he won. I mean, his college program he came from is 1-5. It's not like he's great. You know what I mean? Like, he came from greatness. I mean, the teams he played on were pretty good, but I'm really excited to see what happens and shakes up for the AFC playoffs, because I think anybody who makes the playoffs in a wild card team can beat one of the top teams. I think the wild card teams in the AFC and even the NFC. I think there's a lot of parity in the NFL this year. Sorry, went on a little rant.
Hey, you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, sometimes. So
It is our show, so you can do whatever you want.
Oh, thank you. Would you guys like to go to our favorite segment of the show?
Who has bigger balls?
Hold on, I didn't hear that.
Who has bigger balls?
That's right. Who has bigger balls? Who has bigger balls this week, guys? Kurt Herbstreit for accusing Michigan of quitting to fuck over Ohio State, or Malik Beasley for taking Scottie Pippen's ex-wife out to shop in public while having a girlfriend and did it with absolutely no shame? We'll start with you, Sam. Who has bigger balls?
You know what? I love that move from Malik Beasley. That is hilarious. I didn't hear about that until I came on the show, or I would have added the Timberwolves to my talk. I believe that's maybe the second time that an NBA player, or former NBA player, has started dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. So Scottie Pippen's just taken L's recently. He's Jordan's sidekick. He gets disrespected enough. So Malik Beasley is honestly my offseason MVP.
Wow.
I think it goes without saying that Malik Beasley definitely has bigger balls because he hasn't come out and apologized yet. Kirk Herbstreit's apologized. I mean, Malik Beasley's just taking it, going with it. He's like, hey, I got caught. Took my girlfriend to a shopping center in Miami while I'm dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. Didn't even think of the possibility of getting caught. And then, like you said, no shame. Doesn't care.
Because he didn't care. Yeah, some people, they don't care.
He's got some big balls.
Here. I'm going to be quick because this was a long episode. It's obviously Kurt Herbstreit. Guys, I'm Jordan McKelly. Sam, thank you for hopping on to cover your balls. That's Mitchell Balla. I'm Jordan McKelly. Kurt Herbstreit has the biggest balls.
And goodbye, Tyler Naquin.
Go Browns.